What the f is going on? Ever said those words during an anime? I don't mean saying those words in confusion, like trying to understand the plot of a complex story like Sunny Boy. I mean in an outlandish or absurd kind of way. For example, you can look at how Kill la Kill's story is centered around superpowered clothing, or how Shimene's story is about overcoming sexual suppression. Or you could talk about weird scenes in various anime, which you'd get plenty from any of the anime I've already mentioned, but here's a few more examples. Nina screwing a table in Code Geass, the ending of School Days, or the pee scene in Prison School.
Stop stalling and get ready to pee!
You know what, just about any scene in Prison School fits this, and the manga continuation after what's shown in the anime somehow tops its insanity. I mean that in a good way. It was crazy but enjoyable. Well, I found yet another anime that can be equally weird, chaotic, and random as those anime mentioned. This is round 5 of Gem, Garbage, or Something in Between, or better known as GGS. For those new to this series, I love searching for underrated anime. So each anime season, I scroll towards the bottom of MyAnimelist seasonal anime and pick one to watch. Afterwards, I rate it as a gem, garbage, or something in the middle, aka if you should watch it yourself or not. Thus far, I've watched some weird and some okay anime, but nothing I declare underrated or a hidden gem just yet. The next anime I decided to select is Train to the End of the World. Boy, are you in for a wild ride watching this, since it is absolutely crazy. Also, you literally experience a wild ride since the main characters ride a train throughout the anime to their destination of Ikebukuro. Train to the End of the World's beginning is interesting, to say the least, with the introduction of 7G network technology to Japan. With 7G comes the promise of miraculous technological advancements and the ability to connect to others in the world at record speed. However, once it is activated by a young girl named Yoka, the entirety of Japan is thrown into chaos, forever changing it. Life changes drastically for everyone, and odd new rules have overwritten the old ones, distorting reality. The distance between towns grows to near impossible lengths. Japan's terrain drastically changes along the borders of jurisdiction, with each one being different from the next. People have mutated in various ways, some turning into animals, some zombies, and others shrinking in size. Almost nothing makes sense anymore, but each incident, oddly enough, does make sense if provided their own context. Dubbed as the 7G incident, it's an extremely trippy and weird phenomenon that will make you say, "What am I witnessing?" Train to the End of the World follows 4 high school girls roughly 2 years after the 7G incident occurs. A determined Shizuru is desperately looking for her friend Yoka, who has been missing all of this time, and plans to use the only method of transportation left available to her, a train, to go find her. With very little planning or preparation and her destination set, Shizuru sets off on this journey across the country from her small town of Agano to Ikebukuro, last known whereabouts of her best friend Yoka. Before embarking on her journey, Shizuru's other friends Nadeko, Reimi, Akira, and even Yoka's dog Pochi tag along at the last minute, also wanting to help find their friend. While on this one-way trip, the girls experience how 7G has ravaged the world with their own eyes. Throughout Train to the End of the World, these 4 high school girls experience many chaotic and bizarre things, with each stop having the potential to be weirder than the last. Some train stop examples include a town filled with people belonging to a mushroom head cult, horny zombies that explode, and a city that transformed into a popular anime, to name just a few of them. Even though this sounds insane and they endure many problems throughout their adventure, these girls do have fun on their journey. Despite these bizarre encounters and nonsensical, unpredictable moments, Train to the End of the World creates a cohesive, interesting, and creative story that's actually logical. At any moment, something weird, bizarre, or extremely funny can happen, leaving you perplexed, wondering just what setting these girls will stumble upon next. It also never derails from being this odd and fun journey to observe. Now you might be thinking, why does Shizuru want to be reunited with Yoka so badly, especially after 2 years? There's clearly something more to it. Right before the 7G incident happened, the two of them had a nasty quarrel which led to Yoka going to Ikebukuro alone. The blame for this argument solely lies on Shizuru, who laughed at Yoka's interests and dreams, stating that they were unrealistic. Yoka told Shizuru that she has a passion for astronomy and wants to work on space probes when she grows up. Imagine having these lofty high hopes and dreams of a great future, and then having those dreams absolutely crushed and ridiculed by your best friend, the one who should be building you up and encouraging you. That is completely demoralizing. I'd say it's even worse in Yoka's case if you pay attention throughout the story. Expressing herself is clearly not her forte. She's a soft-spoken girl who is not great at making friends. Speaking about these things to others in the first place is probably difficult for Yoka, so when her best friend ridicules her and claims that her dreams don't seem realistic, you can understand just how poor mentally Yoka is right before she hits the button activating 7G. The second she presses that button, all of Yoka's thoughts and dreams come forth, changing the world forever. Now she possesses the ability to control the world and can change it on a whim, but a nasty side effect of it is that she develops amnesia. This amnesia was brought on from her desire to forget about the fight she had with Shizuru, since it hurt her so much. Flashbacks are showcased throughout the story, not only providing more depth to each of the 5 girls, but these flashbacks showcase why certain towns are the way that they are. Each stop's changes are based on Yoka's dreams and experiences, which have now become reality, with each one having their own theme or specialty, such as a zombie area, a town that has shrunk in size along with its people, or a town that makes everyone very itchy. Nothing exists outside of the towns along the Seibu Ikebukuro line, since that is all she knows. It's clear that Shizuru didn't actually mean what she said when she insulted Yoka. Not only is Shizuru horrible at explaining herself, which is why the conversation became an argument in the first place, but I think she was speaking more about herself. Shizuru was talking about her own dreams and expectations of the future, not Yoka's. Shizuru has no clue what she wants to do with her life yet. She does not possess very high expectations of herself and is placing the same fear and comfortability with her current situation on others, with Yoka getting the brunt of it here. Shizuru has no clue what she wants to do with her own future and is fine with absolutely nothing changing. When Shizuru was talking to Yoka during their argument, I think everything she said was because of her fear of failure. She's too afraid to take risks, usually picking the safe route. She didn't think about how those disparaging comments would affect Yoka, because it's easy to crush other people's dreams, especially when it helps to make yourself feel better, and that's what happened here. This journey to go and apologize to Yoka ended up being exactly what Shizuru needed to kickstart the beginning of her new life, one filled with endless possibilities and hope. By going on this journey and the stuff she experienced throughout it, she realized that life is more fun because of the uncertainty of the future. This journey forces her to leave her comfort zone and be more daring, because she needs to be in order to make it to her destination. She knows she was wrong and is determined to deliver an apology no matter what. It takes an insane amount of guts to go into the unknown unprepared, and even more so in this case thanks to the 7G incident. Not only that, but Witch Queen Yoka got pretty close to killing Shizuru several times during her apology, but Shizuru never backed down, demonstrating her resolve. By the end of the anime, Shizuru is able to finally apologize and Yoka is able to forgive her. A now mentally stable Yoka presses the button, making the world, which once stood still and unchanging, return back to normal. Kind of. At first glance, many things appear to be normal. In other cases, there are residual effects where things didn't change or changed in the complete opposite direction. What even is normal anymore, though? These high school girls have experienced so many weird and bizarre things, not only along their journey, but over the course of the past 2 years. Those oddities they experienced actually became the new norm for them, so what even is a normal life anymore to them? Life can oftentimes be irrational, so an ending like that is fitting, especially for this anime, which was irrational from the get-go. Train to the End of the World is definitely an anime that's a contender for some of the best out-of-context clips. It also has moments that will make you burst out laughing for long periods of time. Like I said earlier, there's the horny zombies that explode whenever something erotic is talked about or shown to them. Who knew that would be a zombie's weakness? Then there's the villain Pantaro, who eats people who have been turned into egg custard of all things by Yoka. Not only that, but apparently he's done that multiple times and all of his minions are definitely afraid of being the next victim. Then throw in scenes like Akira getting a butt mushroom, the fight with the mangaka, or any time Zenjiro reverts to his post-wibble-wobble surgery form. There are plenty of laughs to be had, and those examples barely scratch the surface. So, in recap, the story, animation, art style, and characters are all good and enjoyable, with Akira being my favorite character overall. The show is both insane and funny, but the best part is the world building, which is constantly being built upon through the bizarre stops along the train line. I enjoy the message about building up your friends and encouraging them to chase their dreams, since that is what this anime is all about. If there's one thing to slightly critique about Train to the End of the World, it has to be the dialogue. I'm not saying that the dialogue as a whole was awful, because it's not. It's just that some conversations were not very good. Some felt like they dragged on for far too long, and some of the topics discussed in these long-winded conversations were not very interesting, nor were they productive, especially in the context of what was actually happening at the time. These bad conversations seemed more like ramblings from a madman, or the characters were just talking just to talk, more so than anything else. Now, what I will say about these moments of bad dialogue is that it adds yet another layer to the wacky, weird, and chaotic nature of the anime, so at least to some degree the critique isn't a negative, but actually a positive since it is fitting. Train to the End of the World definitely surprised me and was very unique. It is a roller coaster of a watch and has officially become the first hidden gem for GGS. I give it a 7.75 out of 10 and highly recommend checking it out for yourself. There's definitely potential for a continuation from this idea with their train ride back to Agano and seeing how the world has now changed once again, but overall it ended in a spot that I think is basically perfect. If you're looking for an anime recommendation for something similar to Train to the End of the World, then I highly recommend checking out A Place Further Than the Universe. It's also a show where 4 girls undertake a massive journey into the unknown. It's nowhere near as crazy or wacky, but overall it is still a fantastic watch. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.